Hello, everyone. It's Friday, and it's Fierce Female Friday in the Woman Up community, our very first Woman Up weekly live of 2021. I said it right. For the first time on live, I actually said it right. It has been so interesting. Like, I literally had to think, did I say 2021? I did it. It's 2021. Happy New Year. How's everyone doing? Let us know that you are here. You know the drill. Drop in the comments that you can see us, you can hear us, and where you are watching us from. Are you at home? Are you at the office? Are you on a walk? Hopefully you're not in the car. You know who I'm talking to out there, who does her Facebook Lives from the car, who makes me nervous every time she does it. Who shall remain nameless, but you know who you are. Let us know where you are. Sarah, do you see us live?
Carol. I do, and I'm saying hi to Carol, Tammy, Tracy, Annette, Sabrina.
Yeah. We are so thankful you are all here. Oh my goodness, we have a fun show today. We have a different kind of show today for two reasons. One, as y'all know, Sarah is now the Senior Vice President at CAR. It's official. She is fully in her role. Woo-hoo-hoo! And Leslie is here in her new role as Watch Me Refire into the World. Oh, so both of them are going to have different types of updates going forward. And as you can see, we also have a fabulous guest today who has not been on the show or the stage before. And so everything is fresh and new, I guess, except for me. But I bring fire, so I'll make it new.
You have the fire, Deborah. You have the fire.
I do have the fire is always fresh and new, right? Okay, so I have a couple of quick updates before I pass the mic to Sarah and then on to Leslie. The first is, let it be known right here that your voice will be heard if you share it. There is a poll on the group for you to share what topics you want to talk about and learn about in 2021. We are feeling pretty clear about Q1 based on what you've all already said, and we're already vision casting Q2. So head on over to the poll on the group and drop in your votes. If something is not on the poll that you want, you can add it. You can add it as a poll option or in the comments. We really want to hear from you, please. We want to make sure that the programming that we're putting together serves you at your highest and best. So that's first. Second is book club. Book club. First book club of the year is next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, and we are doing How Women Rise. This book has gotten so much great press. It is, there's the leadership expert, Sally Helgeson, is kind of teams up with a leadership coach, Marshall Goldsmith, and they talk about their past experience really truly training thousands of high achievers, and they shake out their insights for us. It is so good. I've already listened to it once, and I'm listening to it now a second time so that it's all fresh, but it is so good. I had a lot of aha moments and some of those moments where you're like, dang it, I do that. That's me. The highlighter just was highlighting all over my face in the dictionary. So we're hoping that you enjoy that as well. So again, poll and book club, exciting. All right, Ms. Senior Vice President, what do you have for us today?
Well, we are just off the heels of a very jam-packed industry leader town hall, which is brokers in California. So this is California specific. It's a CAR update, mainly around the new laws that have taken effect January 1, 2021 here in California. One is we are in a California fire state, so there's a new disclosure law around home fire hardening. So I will post some of the our legal information in the chat for those who want to take a look at that if it applies to you. Also here in California, and I'm in LA, which is the hotspot for COVID, unfortunately. And there are some new laws around what we need to do in case in the workplace, in case someone is affected with COVID, and what you need to do. Notify, you have 24 hours to notify anyone who has potentially been exposed. So that's big, a big new change in California. Also, the CARES Act was passed in late last year, and so we have a lot of great realtor relief information, especially for the brokerage community. There's a PPP loan that you can draw you could take a second draw even if you received a PPP loan to cover payroll and other expenses. And so I'll drop we did an entire, I think, an hour and a half long webinar with our legal team, and so much information there. There is talks, and Biden just dropped his stimulus plan that he wants to roll out immediately when he takes office. It will include, hopefully, another stimulus for in addition to the 600. So maybe we'll get some relief out to those who need it. So we can share that. On the economics front, Leslie's here, so I'm not going to go into that, but the market in California is hot, hot, hot. We ended the year at 3.5% above where we were in 2019, which is huge because we were shut down for 2 months in 2020, right, Leslie? And so we are seeing very low inventory, a lot of buyer demand, a lot of people still want to buy a home in California. So with that, I'm going to let Leslie take it away if she wants to add anything. And what are you up to?
Well, I'm not going to do really anything on the market except to say I'm sure you'll put some things in the chat, because the press release did come out today, and I think it really is incredibly significant that we're ending the year above last year with a median home price still well above 700,000. So, you know, in the depths of despair in March and April and May, who would have thought that this would be the outcome? And not that there aren't challenges, and not that everybody's having the best year ever, but certainly this industry is leading the rest of the economy forward. So I'm staying involved and kind of watching everything that's happening. And there's been so much happening already. It's only January 15th. But one of the things that caught my eye this morning that I just wanted to alert you to is the Wall Street Journal. And you know, the way print happens these days with newspapers is typically articles appear digitally before they show up in the paper. And John and I are big print people, so we've got a real paper. So for anyone that doesn't know what a real newspaper looks like, this is one. And this is a special section in the Wall Street Journal this morning called The Future of Everything. And there were, I don't know, 8 or 10 articles, and, you know, a Labor Department report on what the labor market's going to look like in 2029, the hot industries, the winners, the losers, all kinds of stuff. There was an article on the death of the desk. You know, what is our real workspace going to look like going forward? Two that really caught my eye was one about reforming the boardroom, and it's about an attorney. His name is Cyrus Mehri, and he is one of the leading civil rights attorneys for these class action lawsuits. And his goal is, of course, to get monetary, you know, benefits for his clients. But the second thing that he's really even more focused on is structurally changing a system that incorporates bias, and people don't even know it. So I just want to read one paragraph that really stood out for me. He said, in 2002, he co-wrote a report showing that Black coaches in the NFL achieved superior results to their white counterparts, yet were more likely to be fired or less likely to be hired. That work turned into the Rooney Rule, a rule the NFL adopted that same year, which requires teams to interview one or more candidates of color for each head coach position. The rule is named after Dan Rooney, the late Pittsburgh Steelers owner and chairman of the NFL's diversity committee. He said he was inspired, this is the attorney, by Armory Secretary Clifford Alexander, who was given an all-white list of colonels who were ready for promotion. After he instructed his subordinates to look again at the records of eligible Black colonels, Colin Powell was among the names put forward. The rest is history. And we all know Colin Powell.
Oh my
how
gosh.
amazing he is. So it really goes to that importance of seeing different people, having different people at the table, knowing that when you have a room where everyone looks like you, there's going to be group think. So two of the statistics went, one related to women, there's 79 times greater chance that a woman will be hired if there are two female candidates. And with respect to people of color, it's 190 times more likely if there are two candidates of color. So that is incredibly important. The other article, real quickly, is called All Together Now, a different model of the boss is emerging, a coach and a nurturer, not necessarily a business whiz. And for those of you that have been around Women Up for a while, you know that the Humans Are Underrated book by Jeff Cloven is like required reading. You have to read that book. But what they're saying here is so many things that the manager used to do are essentially going to be done in the digital world, and they're really going to need people with people skills, right? And they're going to need people that understand differences and can relate to people and have empathy and tell stories and all the things that Jeff talks about. So that's not going away, and I think that's a real plus for women who just tend to be a lot better to actually have antenna. Whereas how many times do we say, boy, that guy was pretty tone deaf, you know, and we tend not to be for a whole series of reasons. But anyway, those are just a couple of the things I noticed that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention. And I'm really looking forward to hearing Bernadette's story today and learning a lot. So thank you.
Woo! Well, I love that we have this new segment called What's on Leslie's Mind. And let's just talk about how that's firing all of our synapses right now, right? So I don't know how many of you follow Marky Lemon's Ryle. I don't know how many of you do. If you do not, you must. It is our mission this year to get her into the Woman Up community. This woman is fire. Anyway, she was go to her Facebook page and watch her live from yesterday, because she is singing the song you are singing, Leslie. She's like, I am so tired of seeing these lists with no African Americans, no Black faces. And so she's now picking up the phone and saying, here's this person, this person, this person, this person, this person. She's sending the application links. Like, she's doing the work that you are talking about. And we all can do that. We can all pick up the phone and encourage someone. We can all send a link in email or in a Facebook message or a text message saying, hey, there's a call for speakers, would love to share the stage with you. Katie Lance is great at this as well. She is great at passing on the opportunity. So think abundantly, Woman Up community, and pass along the opportunities, pass along the links, nominate our fellow sisters and brothers inside this amazing community. And let's see some killer diversity that, whether they admit it or not, whether they say it or not, we can connect that dot right back to our beautiful divine community. Speaking of, I didn't do this on purpose, but divine intervention. The reason we are speaking to this amazing woman that we are going to introduce you today is because of a red thread between Tammy Bunnell, Exit Realty CEO and consistent sponsor of Woman Up. When we did an all call and said, who does our community need to know that they haven't met yet? Bernadette was the first person at the tip of her tongue. She said, you are going to love this person. So let me read to you just a tiny part of her bio. Of course, we'll make sure that you get the whole thing, but that's a small snippet. So Bernadette is newly acquired. And when I say newly acquired regional owner, I mean April. Yep. Pandemic April. She's the regional owner of Exit Realty in the Virginia area. Only a year and a half into her real estate career, Bernadette opened her own real estate company, Exit Landmark Realty, in January 2008. Anybody recall 2008? What happened then? Since opening the doors, her company has quickly gained market share, is rapidly growing in a challenging market. Her philosophy is accomplished through leadership and education and giving back to the community. And wait until you hear how she challenges and works with her team on serving the community. It's going to give you goosebumps because it certainly did me. She's married to a retired U.S. Air Force pilot, Lieutenant Colonel Alex Cole, who may or may not be here today. I don't know, because he did enter the group. And she's a parent of 3 children, Marcus, Brianna, and Angelina. Love those names. Through her leadership and support, both personally and through the agents in her offices, she invests time, energy, and capital to multiple community outreach programs, from supporting our military, obviously, wink, wink, and first responders, all the way to fighting human trafficking and homelessness. Welcome to the show, Bernadette.
Thank you. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you for having me today. I'm so excited to be with you. I've been looking forward to this.
Oh, yay. Oh, so tell us how you are. Like, how's it going? We're in, middle of January into 2021. What's whirling around in your head these days, Bernadette?
Oh, wow. So it's been a really interesting year for everybody with COVID and all the challenges that's presented. But, there's been a lot of amazing lessons that have come out of that. It's kind of like starting the brokerage during the recession. We thought it was gonna, I was like, oh yeah, that's normal cycle, not knowing that we were really getting into that, but we adapted and, everything turned out really well and we were able to navigate through it. And so it's been the same with COVID. The year started off, woohoo, this is it. This is a great year. And we were hit pretty hard. I'm in the DC metro area. And so we were hit pretty hard with the shutdown. We were deemed essential. So we were able to continue working through it. And we were all incredibly surprised at the number of transactions, the demand for housing, and things quickly turned around. It was like, at the beginning of that, but we all came together. And that's one of the things that I love, with your group, is we still had community like this. It was just a little bit different, but we definitely adapted as a company. And so we're really looking forward to 2021. We've learned quite a bit from this last year on how to still connect, and not just with our agents, but with our community. So we're really looking forward to 2021. And just like Leslie was just talking about the stats, it's been really strong in our area as well, and it looks like it's going to remain that way. So we have a lot of work to do this year. And we're excited about it.
Amen.
Yeah, and so I'm so excited to get to know you, Bernadette. And this is now, our community is now your community. And one of the things we love finding out about our community is their first we look at their overall, Deborah did a wonderful job of reading your bio. But what was the first leadership role? And one of the things that we always ask is, did you go out and grab it, or were you tapped for it?
So, throughout, I always had leadership roles, just when we'd have the group and it'd be pick the leader. I would always get, I would volunteer, but, or I was chosen. It was just that happened a lot, through school and stuff like that. So I was very active in school, but when I got into college, I had children, my husband was already in the military. And so I wasn't as active in college leadership. However, I became active in our spouses club. I was a student in college, and we had military spouses clubs. So I volunteered, I served on boards, and I learned a lot of leadership through the boards. So I ran for positions on the board, and we did a lot for scholarships, giving back to community. So that started like really early on in my career. But my first leadership position in business was actually in the cosmetics industry. I worked for Lancome Cosmetics, and I was a business manager. And that is definitely something that I grabbed. I was already working in cosmetics. I was fairly new to the business, and a business manager position came open with a different brand. And I said, I want to do that. And they were like, well, you don't have experience. And so I actually got the people from my counter, the leadership, to rally with me with the department store that I worked for, because actually in cosmetics, you worked for both the brand and the department store. And so I got them behind me, and I told them what I was going to do. I said, I know this counter is down. It hasn't met the numbers for last year, and I know I can do this. And so this is what I want. And I told them what I wanted as far as getting paid. And the store was like, no way. And so my brand said, well, we believe she can do it. We'll cover it for the first couple months. And if she does it, will you do it? And they said, yes. And so,
Love this story.
yeah. So
that is some grit you showed. That's tenacity
yes.
and grit.
That's just asking
Yes.
for what you want. That's wonderful.
Yes. Yes. And I absolutely believed that I was going to be able to do it. And, you know, I looked at the numbers, and we had an opportunity coming up. And this is actually something I share with agents in the real estate. Our business is cyclical, and there are opportunities in every market. And if you go after, like, if you recognize those opportunities and go after the opportunities, you're not going to fail, you're going to succeed. And so I realized that we had, like many of you all know, the gift with purchase. I realized that we had gift with purchase coming up. And we used to have this gift. Some of you may remember this, but it was our French bread gift. And so with your purchase, you would not only get your big fancy tote bag, but you'd get a loaf of French bread. And we had Panera bread coming into our market. And so I was like, how can I take this gift and make up these numbers? Because I knew that was a lot of volume, that potential, if we planned and did it right. So I got my team together. I went and I met with this regional manager. He promoted my gift. He let my team put a display in the Panera for my gift, and he stuffed the bags with things that were sending people to my counter, and we blew it out of the park.
Wow.
We actually won a contest for our entire region. And so I got the raise, I got the position, and that was actually my first leadership position as far as being in business. And that was in the cosmetics industry. And then in real estate, my first leadership business was as a broker, and I was kind of new to the industry when I jumped into that one too.
So Bernadette, I can't believe it. You get like mascara and a baguette, you know, like what a great combination, right? Who wants to pass up on that? So here you are in cosmetics, and then you kind of jumped ahead. And how, you know, you did a lot of different sales roles all around the country. You're moving, you've got 3 kids, you've got a husband, you're of course doing everything. So why real estate? How did that happen? What was that trajectory like into our industry?
Yeah, so I always had a passion for real estate. When I was working on my degree, one of the classes that we were required to take was Principles of Real Estate. And so, you know, at the time I was pretty young in college. We didn't own a home yet, but I was like, there's something about this, and this is exciting to me, and I love it. And I wanted to learn everything I could. And so for my electives, I started taking other real estate classes, and I took like real estate law, I took real estate investment, and these were like choices, these were electives. And my friends are like, what are you doing? Those are hard classes. You're taking law as an elective, and you're taking like real estate investment. We had to go like to the courthouse, to the basement, go grab the microfilm, the microfiche. you know, to do the project. And they're like, what are you doing? But there was just something about it. And so, you know, with my husband moving around, like in certain times during my life, I would be like, oh, I just really want to go get that real estate license. And so I actually interviewed companies and things would happen. Like we had another child and I'm like, oh, I'm going to wait, you know, because we had a new baby. He was deployed a lot. And so then I was like, okay, I'm going to do it now. She's older. And then I found out we're moving overseas. And I actually interviewed with a company, was like ready to sign. And I found out that we were moving overseas. And so we spent 3 years in Okinawa, Japan. And while we were there, I just kept saying, as soon as we get back, I'm getting my real estate license. Like, I know that this is it. I know that this is the time. And so as soon as I got back, I got the license. And then my first year, I won a contest. We had a contest in our office. I won a contest and the prize was a convention ticket. And I got to hear Tammy speak and I got to hear.
Well, that explains everything, right?
Right.
So where do I sign? But really, like after like being there, I found community and I found a company. Like I've done a lot. I've worked for a lot of companies. I've done a lot in sales and I went to a lot of sales rallies where it was like, rah, 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 go do your numbers, you know, or you did your numbers, great. And I sat and I listened to all these leaders and it was so much about the people. And it was like this whole, it's like, it's your spirituality, it's you as a person, it's your wellness. And then, oh yeah, the real estate's going to happen and you're going to do great because all that other stuff is in alignment. And that just like sung to my soul. And so I left there going, you know what, 3 to 5 years from now, I am going to open a real estate brokerage. And so that was in October. And then in January 15th, I opened my doors. So I kind of fast forwarded that 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, 3 months is more like it.
Yes. It's funny because what it was I kind of have this limiting belief that I couldn't do it because I didn't know enough. I didn't have enough experience. And I have to have 3 years to be a broker. And somebody asked me a question and said, well, what's stopping you? And I was like, well, I need the 3 years to be a broker. And they're like, well, can't you hire a broker? And I was like, oh yeah, I guess I can. And then it's like, okay, what's stopping you now? And you know, what I discovered in that journey is that everything I did up until that point was preparing me, and I did have experience. And I actually realized I have more experience than other brokers who may have more real estate experience. I have experience in sales management. I have experience managing teams. I have experience in customer service, and like everything that I did up until that point was actually preparing me. So it was just this whole process. Yeah, this whole realization.
That's just, what an incredible story. Thank you for that.
I love that. Well, first of all, I have to tell you that your hubby is here. And he left a comment that says, I packed a lot of cosmetic bags with Panera bread.
All right.
Good man. Good man. He shares the burden yeah. I love that.
He's also put up a lot of real estate signs and fixed a lot of computers in the office. And
I love it. Yeah. You know, I as you kind of mentioned earlier, we share cosmetics in our journey. And so for 10 years, I was either working behind the Chanel counter or Elizabeth Arden, or I did Lancôme only on the makeup artist events. And everyone loved when it was Bastille Day GWP. Like the whole department smelled like a bakery.
I missed this whole thing. Like, I never got bread with my mascara. And I have
my goodness.
FOMO. It didn't happen in LA, Leslie. It must have been like,
I think it's in LA. It's like, we're no carbs. No carbs, sorry.
I'm not sure if carbs was a thing then, because I'm pretty sure everyone in cosmetics was walking around chomping on a baguette.
I did. But Panera was like, we'll deliver it for you. And like I said, they were just opening. So they would bring in bagels for the entire department. Everybody loved me.
Oh, I bet. I love it.
For
I
sure.
love the creative way of thinking about really nurturing this dream that you had, right? Like, I know I can do this, and how am I going to do it in a new and exciting way? And you went out to the community of other businesses, right? And this is
Yes.
a thread for you. This is a
Yes.
thread for you. And this is normally the part where we're like, hey, tell us about a leadership lesson. However, I kind of want to shake it up a little bit, because we've had Tammy on a couple of times. We've had lots of conversations with her, and she has shared the importance in particular inside Exit Realty, about celebrating one another, about collaborating with each other versus competing against each other, and how connection is woven into the tenets of the company, right? Like, this is the North Star of Exit. And I would really love for you to share how you have, brought in and infused this experience that you had, right, from the very first leadership role into adapting during the pandemic, focusing on those areas of celebrating and collaborating and connecting, not only for yourself, but also you've got some interesting things you've done with agents on helping them reconnect with their communities during this time. So share with us some of those things.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you mentioned the business relationships, and that's something that we've carried that into real estate. It's something, I mean, Tammy teaches on that as well. And we just talk about the importance of, like, we don't do real estate ourselves. We have all these other partners. And so the things that we're doing in our community, our partners are partnering with us, not just helping us through our transactions, but they're helping us have impact and make a difference in our communities. And so there's so many things, like, just over like COVID, it is one of the ways that we connected as an office. And I've always said that, there's like this energetic exchange when it comes to business and relationship, and all of our business comes from our community, and you can't just take. There's also a give, and you have to have balance. And so one of the ways that we're doing that is that we like, our business comes from our community. We feel that we need to give back to that same community, and we need to support that community in every way possible, because we're all interwoven, we're all intertwined. And
Yes.
so there was a bigger need during COVID. We had a lot of people who were laid off. We had a lot of people who were not deemed essential and couldn't go in and work like we could. And you guys know that we came out a lot better than a lot of people. A lot of people are still struggling. And so I reached out to some of our community leaders, and we found, and actually some of them reached out to us because of need. And so we found, like, there was a huge need within our homeless community. So we worked with an organization, and we provided groceries for over 100 families for 4 weeks straight. And we raised the money, we did all the shopping, we delivered it, and then they were able to distribute into the community. And then over Christmas, we don't have shelters in the area that we're in Southern Maryland for homeless. So they do something called Safe Nights, where the churches open up, and they've also got some funds where they can put people in hotels. And so I reached out and I talked to them, and we were able to provide dinner, Christmas Eve dinner, for everyone that was in the shelter. And we were able to provide gifts for all of the families, socks, clothes, toys, pretty much, like, everyone got these great goodie bags. And then we also had some other organizations where we were able to do the same thing. And what I love is that we have so much power in our community. Like, if there's a need and someone reaches out to me, it's not just me, it's the 300 agents that are with me. And then we become a voice, and everybody our voice touches, they become a part of it. And then that's when you start to truly have impact. And so many of the things that we did, we reached out to our clients and we said, hey, we don't know if you know there's a need right now. This is what we're doing. This is how you can help if you'd like to be a part of it. So now like it's just getting bigger and bigger. And so over this last year, we've been able to have incredible impact. We've done like fundraisers. We've provided shelter, we've provided clothing, we've provided food, and it's brought us together with purpose, which gives our business purpose. And that's what we're supposed to be doing. Like when you have a business that like sets your soul on fire, you want to chase after that. You want to wake up every morning and you want to be a part of that, because with that, you're not only changing your life, but you can change others' lives. And so it has been an incredible journey this year. And I've had multiple agents that when we do our one-on-ones, it's one of the things we talk about. We say, okay, what is your passion? Like, what is it that lights your soul on fire? And I don't want you to tell me about real estate, because people will go, I just love making homeowners. And we do. We love our homeowners. We make them happy. But we're on this earth for something other than real estate, right? And so we dig into that and we're like, okay, now how can we make that part of your business? And so one of my agents, a brand new agent in the business, we sat, and her passion was working with the homeless. She's actually the one who started the whole Christmas thing, because she told me she's always wanted to do a Christmas morning for the homeless. And so that's what she did. And she door knocked her neighborhood with a flyer and said, hi, I'm your neighbor. These are the things that we need to provide Christmas for our community. Can you help me? Call me, I'll pick it up. And then we connected her with local businesses and they became drop-off points. Like we had a brand new donut shop in the community, and the donut shop said, on this day, come in, we'll give you free donuts when you bring your donation. And so now again, it's like everybody's working together. We're making our communities a better place. And again, we're having impact, and the more of us doing it together, it's just that much more powerful. And we've also been able to utilize, like, when we, Tammy, and, like, so Exit has something called Spirit of Exit, where they'll batch funds. So the company also becomes a part of it. And then they help us by matching the funds when we do a fundraiser. So you like how, like, we're just pulling everyone together. And with that, like I said, we're not only changing the lives of our agents, but we're actually changing lives in our community and having impact.
Wow, I just love how you kept coming back to the word purpose, and we're not here for real estate. What we're here for is the people that are on this planet with us, and how can we make their lives better. And real estate may or may not be part of that. And certainly people in your community know who you are and know about your company because of all these activities. But the purpose is really to touch and change lives. And I think we all know what that feeling is. You look at a day or you look at the last year and it's like, what were you really excited about? And in those moments when you were engaged in something that you really touched you, it wasn't a job, it wasn't a burden, it was a delight, and you always, when your purpose is helping other people, it's it's what is better than that. I'm just incredibly inspired, and I'm so happy to welcome you to the Women Up community, along with Deborah and Sarah and everybody that is on this meeting today. Bernadette, that's really incredible. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And it is like, we are here for more than that. And sometimes the real estate is what plays an essential part of it. Sometimes that's the funnel that helps you. Like if your dream or passion is to go build the orphanage, it's like the money's coming, from real estate, and that's the vehicle. But I know for me personally that when I started, like we all have like this thing, this like tug. And when I started to answer that tug and that call, and I made that my focus, everything just flew wide open in my business, and my business just started happening. It started flowing, and it would come from places I least expected it, because just like I was telling you about the individual that started that, while she was doing it, she was at a grocery store, and the manager of the grocery, because she was taking donations at the grocery store, they had given her permission. The manager of the store came in and said, "You're the kind of person that we want to work with, and we're buying a home." And one of her very first transactions in this business came because she was doing what she was created to do on this planet.
Yeah.
And the business just came to her. It has been life-changing for me, that like knowing who I am, knowing who I'm created to be, and leading with that, the business happens. You attract other people that, you know, it just, everything is just in a flow. Everything's in order.
Lesson
Bernadette?
received.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I just have a follow-up question for you, because I think you said something very profound, and something that women, although men can take this advice too, can hone in. You talked about like listening to that tug in your gut, right? And we often double, question ourselves, or not confident in our intuition and our instincts. So can you give us advice on how to tap into that like tug, that pull, and maybe it is the broader purpose, but I'd love to hear what your advice would be.
Absolutely. So a lot of times when, like when I'm working with agents, like there's things that you can add into your practice, like just mindfulness, like, Deborah, I saw that you do the sipping tea. Like sometimes it's like, okay, one of the things I love is my morning coffee. So like during my morning coffee, I'm going to be really quiet still, not have the TV on all the time. And I'm just going to reflect. And it's really in those quiet moments that you really get the clarity. And, sometimes it's just asking yourself, like, I'm sure that you can tell, like when I talk about that, I'm excited, I get animated, and we all have that something. There's like this something that I want to do, or there's somebody that I want to help. And a lot of times it's around people, because we're meant to connect. We're meant to, be a part of each other's lives. So a lot of times it is around people, and there's certain things. And so I think the biggest thing that we have is fear, or thinking, just like at the beginning where I was saying, I thought that I needed more time, I needed more development, I needed this. A lot of times when I have the conversations, what I hear is, when I make X amount of money, I want to be able to give back. Or when I get to this point, I want to. And the thing is, money's a solvable problem. Sometimes all I need to be is the voice. And so I feel like it's really taking action in each little step that you take. Like, let's just say that there's something I'm passionate about, and I reach out to that organization and say, tell me more about your organization. Maybe I interview them and I write something, or I share it on Facebook. Like whatever it is that I do, I help by becoming a voice. And so once I take that step, then it starts to snowball. So my advice is to like really get into a place where you can listen, add some like whether it's meditation, affirmations, just take time for you. That's one thing that, I mean, this is not just a challenge in our industry. It's also a challenge sometimes for us as women, because we are wearing so many hats and we have so many rules. I am the best me when I take care of me. And I'm guilty, just like everyone else, where sometimes I just have to step back and I have to take time for me, but like really listening. And I always say entrepreneurs are very intuitive. If you listen to stories about entrepreneurs, they will say, everybody said go left, and I just have this feeling that I should go right. Or, everything just, the bottom's falling out, and I just said, let's go for it. So as entrepreneurs, we are extremely intuitive, and it becomes this like trust in taking the step. So I think, again, it would be to kind of like start putting some things into your practice where you are quiet, like where you're mindful, And then also taking steps. Every step you take, the next step comes, and you don't have to like try to figure out how to get like all the way to goal. I just need to get the next down. I just need to get the next step. So taking it one step at a time.
I love that. I dropped in the comments that I wish I could jump through my screen and just hug you. You sing my song so beautifully. It's like, I love it. I love it when we find each other. Right. And
Yes.
I'm actually listening to this new book. It's a bit new agey. It's called Sacred Contracts. And there are so many elements of what you're talking about that she speaks to in there. You know, we've done classes in the past here inside Woman Up that, that help us get to our core values. And we talk about what we love to do and purpose. And in particular, how, I'm really passionate about helping people weave that into their business as well. And one of the things that she talks about in this book that makes me look at every connection a little bit differently is that she's done all this research on all of these different religions and beliefs, and they all kind of have this interesting theme that there's a plan. Like there's people we're meant to meet, right? There's people we're meant to serve in whatever language it is. And that we all have these little contracts with each other, and we all have a little piece, a little letter of the contract that when we find someone who has that letter that we've been seeking, we feel an animation, a feeling inside of us, that intuition, if you will. And I truly believe that you are a letter in the Woman Up contract. And we are so incredibly grateful for everything that you have shared with us today. You have changed hearts, you've changed minds, you've definitely enhanced the community with your beautiful, warm wisdom. I know there are lots of ladies and gentlemen who would love to get connected with you. So what is the best way for us to get them connected to you?
The easiest way is I have a mobile business card. So if you text exit Landmark with no spaces in it to 85377, it'll send you all of my contact information.
Hooray! We've had that happen to us before when Tammy was on the show. If you could text, I love it.
Yeah.
I love that Exit has these. It's so easy. It makes it so easy. It really, really does. And she's here too, by the way. Tammy's here, and she is echoing your just take the first step.
Yes.
Oh, so I don't want to stop you. Sarah, do you have any last, I don't want everyone to stop. Do you,
No, I wanted to stay here. I couldn't agree more. I actually texted Leslie and Deborah on a sidebar and saying, Bernadette, you are our people, 100%. So I couldn't agree with Deborah more. But our time is short. Unfortunately, I could spend all day, all afternoon with you, and even just go grab a glass of wine and just roll into the evening. But we do have to part. So would you instill a little bit of parting words of wisdom with our community? We have so much love in the chat for you. So I'd encourage you to go back later and check those comments out. But last words, final, not final, but words of wisdom to take into the weekend.
Yes. And thank you all for having me. And I mean, I was telling Deborah earlier today that just like you said, I feel so at home, and it always feels good when you find your tribe. And it always feels good when you find like-minded people that are all moving in the same direction, and it creates a momentum. So I'm so honored to be a part of the community, and I'm really looking forward to doing more. And yes, the words of wisdom. I mean, definitely what we said, take that first step. So many times we get overwhelmed and we get paralyzed with fear, and we sit and we wait and we're trying to figure everything out. And a lot of times it's like we overcomplicate things. So figure out what it is that you can do and do that. And it's enough. It's enough. And once you do that, the next step will come. So take that first step. And then I want to encourage all of you. We talked about putting passion into your business. So figure out what it is that sets your soul on fire. What is it that if I make this business work and this business is just flowing cash to me, what can I fund? What can I do? What if, like, who can I help? And go after that. Like, chase that, like, find that. That is the most awesome business to have, is a business that you want to go to work in and you want to put your time in. And then it's so rewarding when you start to see the lives that you're touching and the transformation of everyone around you. Everyone benefits. So definitely take that first step and chase after your dreams, like set your soul on fire.
I love it.
Love it. Love it.
Soul
Love
on
it.
fire. Oh my gosh. We're gonna be besties quick. Okay. So for all of you who are just aching to have more Bernadette, trust me when I say this to you, you will see her way more often in 2021. We have so many fun things planned. First of all, as I mentioned earlier, we've got the book club coming up next week, but we are putting together that wisdom series. Get your vote in. I dropped the link. Please, please, please go over to the poll and tell us what you want to hear more of, what you want to learn more about, maybe even what you want to share about. And also, we are putting together this vision. We look forward to introducing to you probably at the end of the month about putting together more conversation groups so that a lot of the things that we might even talk about on our weekly show or that you might hear at a webinar or an industry event, where we can help you put together smaller groups where you can really get it into your business. So stay tuned for that, everyone. Again, the topics and things that we discuss are directed when you share your voice. So please, please, please do that for us. Until next week, we wish you all an amazing weekend ahead. And wow, what a great first show. Thanks, Bernadette.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thanks so much for
Bye.
joining us. We'll
Have a
see you
great
later.
weekend, everyone.
Bye.
So glad to see you, Leslie.